Hands off Ibrahim Traore. Why the USA, France, and Europe are bleeding, and why the wickedness must end. Africa is watching.
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Kwame Traore and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime. There's a number of examples across. Even in Sudan, what's going on with the rapid support forces and Burhan of the Sudan forces, when you get down to it, is all about the revenue that can be drawn out of that. And there are nefarious actors in the CCP and sometimes Russia are complicit in that.
The world is awakening. There's a shift happening in the world, and it's no longer just whispers in the wind. It's a roar rising from the heart of the Sahel to the global stage. All across the continents, from Africa to the diaspora, a unified voice is echoing.
Ibrahim Traore! Every Jamaican should have chest up. Every Jamaican. We defend Ibrahim Traore all the way from Jamaica. And that's a message we are sending throughout the whole Africa. To Jamaica, yeah. Representation. Every Rasta there. A Rasta for run the country. And them real. And our fake Babylon people in the system will need to come out. A criminal. Oh. One for all.
Hands off Ibrahim Traore. What? Because this is bigger than Burkina Faso. It's bigger than just one man. This is about African sovereignty. This is about the death of neo-colonialism. This is about the final cry for freedom, a cry the world can no longer ignore. And today that cry has a face. That cry has a name. President Ibrahim Traore. The bleeding empire. Let's talk about the bleeding West, the United States, France, and Europe. These are not just governments in decline. They are empires built on centuries of extraction, deception, and domination. Their wealth was not earned. It was looted. They bled Africa dry. They robbed Latin America blind. They turned the Middle East into a battlefield. And now they're bleeding. But not because Africa is attacking them. No, they're bleeding because Africa is healing. Because the oppressed are no longer afraid. Because the exploited are reclaiming what is rightfully theirs.
They said they were going to save Libya. Today, let's go to Libya and compare Libya to that of when Muammar Gaddafi was ruling Libya. And we'll find out the differences. Today, Libya is in tatters. Libya is going down. Yes. Right now that we have seen another leader in Africa rising up to serve the interests of the people, America is back again. Yes. If America wants to save somebody, they can go to South Sudan. Yes. If America wants to save somebody, they can go to Congo. If America indeed want to save themselves, it will be better off than they coming to save Burkina. No Burkina Bay is saying that they need their help and they should go out of Burkina. That's what we are saying.
Yes. Thank you very much.
What they fear most. You see, foreign powers don't fear guns. They don't fear military resistance. What they fear is something deeper, something more dangerous. They fear a conscious Africa. An Africa that knows her worth. An Africa that refuses to be bought or bullied. An Africa that says, no more. That's why Ibrahim Traore has become a target. Not because he's doing anything wrong, but because he's doing everything right. Traore's crime? Loving Africa enough to fight for her. He's reclaiming African resources for African people. He's cutting off puppet strings tied to Western banks and agencies.
Protest in London, supporting President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso.
He's rejecting IMF loans that come with chains, not change. He's pushing back against French control of West African currency. He's building a future that's Pan-African, not Paris-approved. He's teaching our youth that dignity is not a luxury. That resistance is not rebellion, it's responsibility. That Africa doesn't need to beg for aid when she sits on gold, uranium, oil, and genius. The same old colonial playbook. And how does the West respond? With the same tired, toxic tactics. Sanctions. Media lies, divide and conquer politics, covert operations, puppet leaders paid to betray their own. Because let's be real, they don't want democracy. They want dependency. They don't want peace. They want control. And they definitely don't want an Africa that governs herself, on her own terms. But the game is up. The world is watching. And we remember. We remember Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. We remember Libya. We remember Patrice Lumumba. We remember Sankara. We remember Gaddafi. We remember every African leader who dared to dream beyond borders and banknotes. And now we refuse to watch Burkina Faso become the next victim. The alliance of the Sahel States. A new fire. Traoré is not standing alone. He stands with the alliance of Sahel States, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, all saying enough is enough. This alliance isn't just military, it's spiritual, it's ancestral, it's historical. It's the rise of true independence. Together, these nations are pushing out foreign military bases, ending the CFA franc trap, securing local economies, guarding their people against manufactured chaos, calling for unity across the continent and diaspora. This terrifies the West, because the moment Africa unites, it's over for empire. Message to silent leaders, to our fellow African leaders, those who sit in luxury while your people suffer under neo-colonialism. We see you, and we call on you. Stop bowing to foreign masters. Stop condemning your own brothers for the approval of those who destroyed us. Remember who you are. You were not elected to be extensions of Paris, Brussels, London, or Washington. You were elected to serve the people, to protect them, to lead them. So lead. Stand tall. Speak boldly. Africa is not a playground for empire. Africa belongs to Africans. A message to the diaspora. And to the African diaspora, in the Americas, in Europe, in the Caribbean. This is our moment too. Traoré is calling you home. Not just physically, but spiritually, intellectually, and economically. He's saying, let's rebuild Africa together. Not as victims of history, but as architects of the future. Not as orphans of colonization, but as children of a great and ancient legacy. We must answer that call. We must build the bridges that were burned. We must plant the seeds of renaissance, justice, and power. Hands off the Sahel. Hands off Africa. To touch the Sahel states now is to touch the eye of Africa. It is to poke the soul of a continent that has had enough. The age of silent suffering is over. The age of African submission is dead. We are no longer asking for freedom, we are walking in it. And to the foreign powers bleeding from their own greed, your time is up. You cannot kill the spirit of a people who have decided to rise. You cannot destabilize what is now rooted in consciousness. You cannot stop this awakening. Final words. Let it be known. Africa is not begging. Africa is not broken. Africa is not yours to fix. Africa is rising. Africa is healing. Africa is remembering. And we will protect our leaders who protect us. We will stand with Traoré. We will defend the Sahel. We will not forget who we are. The wickedness must end. The liberation has begun. Hands off Ibrahim Traoré. Africa is watching. The world is awakening. Now, subscribe, like, share your thoughts and share with those who needs to hear.